Frankfurt has an underground claim to fame as one of the birthplaces of techno music.
Whoa, the birthplace of techno music. What's up, guys? It's Dwayne back again for another video, back in for a reaction. And today's a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible, delicious day because it's a Germany day. Western Germany, we're finally here, guys. I know you guys have been waiting. Meet the Germans road trip part 4. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Today it's time to find out what the West has to offer. The final 4 states that we'll be visiting are Nordrhein-Westfalen, Rheinland-Pfalz, Hessen, and Saarland. Wow. Let's start with a little 2,000-year throwback. The Rhine River in Germany once marked a frontier of the Roman Empire. Not that the Romans didn't want to go any further, but the so-called barbarian Germanic tribes mostly held them off. Roman influence west of the Rhine can still be spotted today in aqueducts, amphitheatres and bathhouses.
So, with Western Germany, you guys must have a very strong relation to the Brits, right? Because it sounds like it's a similar, you know, the Roman Empire, that history is intertwined with British culture. Western Germany, you guys must have a lot of cousins in England. Huh.
Perhaps the most famous Roman remains are here in Trier, which is thought to be Germany's oldest city. The Porta Nigra, Black Gate, was built in the 2nd century under the reign of Marcus Aurelius. The Romans gave my hometown of Cologne the very catchy name Colonia Claudia Aura Agrippinensium. These days, the city is better known for its pretty extraordinary Gothic cathedral.
That's an incredible cathedral.
And Carnival. The so-called 5th season kicks off on 11.11, the 11th of the 11th at exactly 11:11 a.m.
Really?
It rises to a crescendo, usually in February, with a 6-day extravaganza of street parades, costumes, dance performances, music, and plenty of drinking.
That's awesome. Wait, February, so I've missed Carnival, basically. That's awesome. That looks like so much fun. Why February? Normally, like carnivals, because they have carnivals in, I don't know if you guys are aware, they have carnivals all around the world. They have carnivals in Brazil. They have a carnival in the Caribbean, a big carnival. I'm from Caribbean background, and we have carnival in every single island has a carnival where they dress up in bright colors and costumes, and they parade on the street, and there's stalls, and there's food, and there's concerts and all that type of stuff. But normally they're either in hot countries, or if carnivals happen in the Western countries, it tends to be in the summer. So why do you guys have it in February, in a cold month after Christmas?
Traditionally, this was all about letting loose before 6 weeks of fasting for Lent. These days, it's all about
Lebensfreude. Spaß haben. Feiern. Ja, Party. Also ist ein Gefühl. Wir kommen aus Hessen, bei uns heißt Fasching. Ja.
Schönste Zeit im Jahr.
Did you see what they're wearing?
Party. Also ist ein Gefühl. Wir kommen aus Hessen.
They're Gryffindor, right? Harry Potter, she's Slytherin.
Hessen, bei uns heißt Fasching. Ja.
Schönste Zeit im Jahr.
Karneval bedeutet einfach Leben.
Ausbrechen.
Den Alltag hinter sich lassen, in ein anderes Kostüm zu schlüpfen und einfach mal die Sorge vergessen und die Sau rauslassen.
Okay, so basically Carnival has changed into something else. It's just changed into letting loose, living life, having fun, partying. So it's evolved over time, basically.
And are often labelled the most open, friendly and party-ready people in Germany. So no wonder they throw themselves into their Fastelovn and festivities.
Okay. So far already, Western Germany has already made an impression on me. Could you guys be the crown winners? The host is from Western Germany, so she could be biased. But yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm learning so far.
Nordrhein-Westfalen is Germany's most populous state and accounts for 1/5 of Germany's economic output. These days, the main industries are machinery, electronics, cars, plastics and chemicals. But the state was heavily shaped by the Industrial Revolution, coal mining and steel production. The Ruhr area, also known as the Ruhrpott or simply the Pot, was one of the most important industrial regions in Europe. The identity of the Bergmann or miner became a huge part of the region's identity. As the industry continued to grow, so-called guest workers were also brought in from other countries to keep up with demand. But by the late 50s, cheaper fuel had hit the market. As coal plants were shut down, the government tried to create alternative employment opportunities. For example...
Sounds very similar to Britain. Very similar to Britain. Western Germany, you probably are the cousins of the Brits, aren't you? Because the same thing happened. They shut down all these factories and then miners went out of work, and then this is when Thatcher was in power, and then, tried to bring in alternative industries. But really what happened was the not majority, but a lot of the workers that worked in those factories ended up being on the dole and claiming government subsidiaries. And it's not got much better.
Example in new car factories. Billions of euros have since been poured into regeneration.
We didn't have a car industry, so at least you guys could give those out of work factory workers jobs. Whereas in Britain, we did exactly the same thing, but we didn't give them any jobs.
Projects in the region, with a focus on education, culture and nature. Many industrial sites have been repurposed for museums and communal spaces, like this park here in Duisburg.
Same.
So, has regeneration been a success?
Ich denke schon, wenn man sich anguckt, wie es damals hier aussah, dass alles voll mit Industrie war, was jetzt hier ziemlich grün ist.
Ist noch nicht abgeschlossen meiner Meinung nach, weil viele Dinge noch im Prozess sind. Das kulturelle Angebot, ich kann nicht alles wahrnehmen, aber wenn ich sehe, es ist auch im öffentlichen Raum spürbar, es ist was zu sehen, das gefällt mir.
Was macht heutzutage die Ruhrpott-Identität aus?
Die Vielfalt, was für Nationalitäten wir haben.
Es gibt viele Kunst und die Leute sind sehr freundlich.
Sie sind einfach bodenständig geblieben und identifizieren sich total mit den Fußballvereinen, ich sag mal, mit dem, was hier im Grünen passiert.
Ich würde sagen, der Zusammenhalt, das merkt man im Ruhrgebiet auch extrem.
They're leaving a good impression on me, guys. Can't lie. I heard a lot about diversity and culture, and they all seem very positive. There was no negativity about their region.
German is usually pretty literal, so I really enjoy the rather cryptic names given to many dishes in this part of the country. Himmel und Erd,
very pretty.
heaven and earth, is blood sausage, mashed potato and apple sauce. Halve Hahn, half a chicken, is a rye bread roll with a slab of cheese on top. And what about Blindhuhn, blind chicken? That's a vegetable and bacon stew, duh. Herzdrigger is Pfalz dialect for heart pusher, which could refer to the cardiological effect of these meat and potato dumplings, or the fact that locals are particularly fond of this dish. But sometimes the Hessians call a spade a spade. This is the very accurately named grüne Soße, green sauce. To be more exact, it's a sour cream and mixed herb sauce, often served with boiled potatoes and eggs.
Sounds nice.
Cider lover, I've also been dying to try another Hessian speciality, Ebbelwoi, literally apple wine. It's an alcoholic drink made from sour apples, and it's usually...
It sounds nice, but you see with apple, like cider, I do like cider, but a lot of cider gives me like acid reflux, and I just can't stomach it. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you're cider drinkers. I prefer beer and ale, to be honest. But cider, every now and again, I can try. If it's a good cider that I don't get really acidicness inside, then I'll try it. Let me know if this is good cider.
Usually served in a jug like this one called a Bembel.
Bembel.
Whoa, not as sweet as the cider I know. I think I could get used to it.
Viele Leute, die machen sich einen Schuss Mineralwasser rein. Ist ja nicht ganz so stark. Und dann gibt es wieder andere, die machen sich Limonade rein.
I might need to do that.
Das ist aber unter Apfelweintrinkern eigentlich verpönt.
Something I really like about Germany is that not everything is centred around the capital city. Different industries have hubs in different places. Even political institutions are spread between Berlin and the former West German capital Bonn. And Germany's financial centre is Frankfurt. Frankfurt am Main, to give it its full name, is home to many domestic and foreign banking institutions, as well as the European Central Bank and Germany's largest stock exchange. It has the country's busiest airport and 18 of Germany's 19 skyscrapers, earning it the nickname Manhattan. Incidentally, here the buildings don't scrape the sky, they scratch the clouds, Wolkenkratzer. But beneath the surface of suits and skyscrapers, Frankfurt has an underground claim to fame as one of the birthplaces of techno music.
Whoa, the birthplace of techno music. Guys, techno was huge in Britain. So this is where it started. Nice.
As one of the birthplaces of techno music.
Hier gab es sehr früh eine sehr komplexe Szene. Hier gab es die Clubs, aber auch die Produzenten, die Musiker, die Labels, Plattenläden und so weiter. Anfang der 80er Jahre gab es vielleicht 5, 6 Städte weltweit, die diesen Status zu der Zeit hatten.
Kannst du irgendwie schätzen, warum das hier stattgefunden hat?
Einer der Gründe ist mit Sicherheit das Dorian Gray. Also in dem Club lief schon immer das Innovativste vom Innovativen. Der war am Frankfurter Flughafen. Allein der Ort, auch die Fahrt dorthin, er fährt also über die Autobahn. Es ist Nacht und der Flughafen ist nachts beleuchtet gewesen. Man hat ihn schon von weitem so pulsierend gesehen. Man ist dazugefahren und dann runter unter den Flughafen gefahren.
What?
Das war eigentlich schon, da ging es schon los, dass man gespürt hat, hier passiert heute Nacht was. Über Frankfurt wird.
That sounds awesome. What does he mean? That sounds awesome. Did he say? Did I hear correctly that there's a nightclub that was like instrumental in the techno scene, and it was by underneath an airport? Maybe I read that incorrectly. Let me read. Sometimes when you're trying to follow subtitles, you just can't. You know, I don't speak German, but I swear he just said.
Der Ort, auch die Fahrt dorthin, er fährt also über die Autobahn. Es ist Nacht. Und der Flughafen ist nachts beleuchtet gewesen. Man hat ihn schon von weitem so pulsierend gesehen. Man ist dazugefahren und dann runter unter den Flughafen gefahren. Das war eigentlich schon, da ging es schon los, dass man gespürt hat, hier passiert heute Nacht was. Über Frankfurt wird nicht mehr so viel gesprochen. Wow. Das hat damit zu tun, dass diese Räume, diese Clubs einfach fehlen. Hier gibt es nicht viel Raum. Deswegen wird in Frankfurt auch in die Höhe gebaut. Und wenn irgendwo ein Raum frei wird, die Mieten sind extrem hoch. Deswegen ist Berlin auch heute wahrscheinlich World Capital of Techno, weil durch den Mauerfall haben sich einfach Räume ergeben. Das heißt, die Leute konnten, ob es alte Lagerhallen waren, alte E-Werke, Gaswerke, mit diesen Räumen kann man auch erst was Neues entwickeln. Und das haben wir hier leider in der Stadt nicht so.
Ah, okay. So that's why Berlin became the place. Because like Frankfurt, I never heard of Frankfurt doing techno. I thought Berlin was the place for partying, clubs, all things artsy and out there. But actually, it was Frankfurt, but you don't have the space for it. Okay.
If you need an escape from the city, Hessen also has you covered. Quite literally.
Hessen.
This state and neighbouring Rheinland-Pfalz are both 42% covered in trees.
Wow,
that makes
lovely.
them Germany's most foresty states and the perfect spot for a fairy tale. Einem reichen Manne, dem wurde seine Frau krank, und als sie fühlte, dass ihr Ende herankam, rief sie ihr einziges Jakob and Wilhelm Grimm, better known as the Brothers Grimm, were born in Hanau in the late 18th century and later moved here to Kassel. They gathered folk stories for their fairy tale collection. Hansel and Gretel, Snow White, Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella. But we're talking the original gory versions, before Disney toned things down.
I heard that those fairy tales were a bit more like hardcore before Disney like sugar-coated them and made them very like cute and sweet.
The brothers also played an important part in the development of the German language. Jakob published a book on German grammar, and the brothers later began working on a very ambitious German dictionary. Sadly, they never made it past the letter F. Wilhelm died in 1859 and Jakob 4 years later. The last entry he completed was for Frohteufel, demon. But other linguists picked up where they left off, and the tome was eventually completed about 100 years later. Our next stop is Saarland, the smallest German state, excluding the 3 city-states. In fact, it's often used as a unit of measurement in the German media. For example, a forest fire affected an area the size of Saarland. For those of you unfamiliar with this unit, it's about the same size as neighbouring Luxembourg. Not all that long ago, this German state used to be essentially independent, with its own constitution, its own flag, and even a very short-lived currency, the Saarmark. Saarland sent its own team to the 1952 Olympic Games and the 1954 Football World Cup qualifiers, where incidentally it was knocked out by West Germany, who went on to win the tournament.
Okay.
This historical curiosity had a lot to do with the region's attractive coal reserves and the 2 world wars. This part of Germany fell under the administration of the League of Nations after World War I. Then it was returned to Germany. Then it was in the French-occupied zone after World War II, when France gave it protectorate status, effectively releasing it from Allied control. But the region's strong connection to Germany remained, and in a 1955 referendum, the people voted to be released from their special arrangement with France. In
1955, so like this place has like had a lot of hands involved in its just in its operation. So do people speak French in this area as well as German? Let me know.
In 1957, they officially joined West Germany. So is this history still visible today?
Yes, that's what I know.
Das Saarland ist praktisch das französischste aller deutschen Bundesländer, kann man sagen.
Man geht hier kein Baguette holen, man holt sich Flöt, ein schmaleres Baguette. Das ist so typisch französisch. Ich finde, man sieht es auch noch so ein bisschen manchmal an den Bauten, dass da so französisch mit reinspielt.
Der Regenschirm wird im Bereich Saarlouis immer nur ich hol mein Parapluie. Und das ist im Grunde le Parapluie, der Regenschirm. Wir haben hier eine Sprachgrenze, eine europäische Sprachgrenze zwischen Rheinfränkisch und Moselfränkisch. Und die wird Jive und Trive, wird die auch so gesprochen.
Als Franzose, meine Muttersprache war Plattdeutsch. Und selbst in Frankreich sind wir manchmal als die Deutsche betrachtet. Also als so Deutsche, verstehen Sie, so Saarfranzose betrachten. Ne?
Man hört das ja auch, dass hier viele Franzosen sind. Ich weiß, dass das halt ganz nah ist, aber ich fühle mich da jetzt überhaupt nicht irgendwie hingezogen oder so, mich damit irgendwie verbunden.
Und was sollte man...
And she looks very French to me. Wow, interesting.
Man sonst noch über das Saarland wissen?
Prinzipiell, dass es das Bundesland gibt.
Hier gibt es sehr gutes Essen. Ich esse gern Leona, das ist so eine Wurst.
Saarland ist definitiv bekannt für Schwenker.
Hier wird nicht gegrillt, hier wird geschwenkt und man isst hier kein Steak, man isst einen Schwenker.
We've managed to get pretty far in this episode without mentioning beer. There's plenty of Pilsner in the west, and then Cologne's got its Kölsch, and nearby Düsseldorf has its Alt. German beer is known the world over, but a slightly better kept secret is German wine. Around 2/3.
German wine. You're not known for wine. Wine is not something that I would put next to German. But she's gonna school me right now. Around 2/3 of all German wine.
All German wine comes from Rheinland-Pfalz, and the absolute frontrunner is the Riesling variety. Dotted along the Mosel River between quaint villages and hillside castles, you'll
Castle looked incredible. I need to go back.
Variety. Dotted along the Mosel River between quaint villages and hillside castles.
What in the fairy tale is that, guys? What in the Disney princess is that? That's incredible.
You'll find row after row of seriously steep vineyards.
Das Besondere am Moselwein ist natürlich unsere einzigartige Kulturlandschaft und was eben den Charakter des Weines auch auszeichnet, ist der Schiefer. Es ist ein sehr dunkler Stein und schwarz, wie wir alle wissen, kann ja auch sehr gut Wärme speichern, zieht Wärme an und wenn es nachts wieder kälter wird im Tal, dann gibt er das an die Umgebung ab, eben an unsere Trauben. Damals habe ich mich zur Wahl der Moselweinkönigin gestellt, weil ich meine Heimat so sehr liebe und da eben unterwegs sein wollte. Im Auftrag des Weines. Ich habe ehrlich gesagt gar nicht so weit gedacht, dass es dann noch weitergeht zur deutschen Weinkönigin. 2016, 2017 durfte ich im Endeffekt einmal um die ganze Welt
Is that a thing? German Wine Queen?
reisen mit deutschen Wein im Gepäck.
Was macht eine gute Riesling aus?
Ein guter Riesling macht natürlich das gute Moselklima aus. Dann sollte er eine schöne Süße haben, also nicht zu süß, ein bisschen und dann natürlich die knackige, frische Säure, die den Mosel-Riesling auszeichnet.
So, what's the best way to sample the local produce? Well, you could go on a Weinwanderung or wine hike. Yep.
I love wine tasting. Have you ever been to a wine tasting thing? I've been to a couple. I've been to a few alcohol. I've been to a gin distillery. I haven't done beer. I've done gin and I've done wine tasting and it's so good.
Yep,
so
that
good.
involves hiking between vineyards and wine taverns. The more relaxed variation would be to do a Weinprobe or wine tasting, which traditionally goes from dry to sweet.
Yeah,
what else do you like about this area of Germany? Leave a comment below. And that brings us to the end of the Meet the Germans road trip. I've loved gallivanting around the country to find what makes each region unique. Do check out the other road trip episodes and let me know what you think. Pause.
Guys, Loved West Germany, especially at the start when the carnival and her people talking about how it's very friendly and people are very tolerant of one another and there's a lot of cultures, and I'm like, sounds great. I cannot pick between regions. Do I have a favourite? I think I have a couple of favourites, but I'm not going to tell you guys because I enjoyed aspects of every single part of Germany, and I'm so shocked that your country is so diverse and colourful, and the cultures and the food and the art and the architecture and the countryside. The list goes on, and the events and the just incredible. And that is my battery telling me it's about to die. Guys, I've completely enjoyed learning about Germany. I haven't finished learning, but this was a nice overview to really understand that Germany is not what we know in the West. Germany is not what we know in England. It's much more. We never got taught about you guys, and you are like our sister or our brother country. My bad. You're like our sister or brother country, and we have a lot in common, but actually, dare I say it, you have a lot more diversity than we do in England. Germany's awesome. I cannot wait to visit. Cannot believe I've not been. I can't wait to visit. And yeah, there's so much to sample when I go over there. So yeah, when I do go over there, I promise I will document that time, and you will see me in your country, in your city, in your area at some point. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you watched all 4, amazing. If you didn't, make sure you watch part 1, part 2, and part 3. Yeah, because they were all awesome. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.